Hello and good evening. My name is Bob Breen. I'm the chair of the Zoning Board of Appeals for the town of North Reading. Today is again um, Thursday, February 13th, and welcome to the public hearing. For purposes of the meeting tonight, we're joined by thank you. Always nice to know this, my watch reminding me that I don't have any meetings left today. Joined on panel for the board by Brendan Riley, Steve Carell, and Matt Martin. With that, our ability to make quorum has been established. And I'd like to move to the agenda for tonight's meeting. Before doing so, just a note of information. Our next public hearing meeting will be Thursday, March 13th. And again, that is going to continue to be remote. At this time, we're in conversation with regard to meeting in person, at least for purposes of the board, or effectively establishing a hybrid, which would allow various applicants at their option and or discretion to meet remotely. But at this time, the March 13th meeting will continue to be virtual and remote. So with that being noted, the first matters on our agenda tonight are continued matters from our previous meeting. The first one is that of 299 Main Street. The hearing notice that was related to this was on the petition of Victor Oliveira for a special use permit to run a landscaping business to be located in the Highway Business District at 299 Main Street, North Reading, Massachusetts, map 12, parcel 128, in accordance with section 200-39D of the North Reading zoning bylaws. Kathy Morgan, who's the assistant to the board and works out of the building department at town. Kathy has had correspondence from conversations with Mr. Oliveira. Kathy, if you could just note what you learned from Mr. Oliveira.
I received a request to withdraw this afternoon. And it was without prejudice.
Okay, thank you. So after with noting that, I would like to ask if anybody would like to bring a motion on the petitioner Oliveira's request to withdraw without prejudice.
Yes, Bob, I move to accept the request to withdraw without prejudice.
Thank you, Brendan. All in favor of the petitioner withdraw without prejudice with regard to Mr. Oliveira in 299 Main Street?
Brendan Riley, aye.
Bob Breen, aye.
Matt Martin, aye.
Thank you. For purposes of the zoning board of on any motion, it requires a 3-member vote, and in this case, that has been met. As such, motion passes, and the request to withdraw without prejudice is allowed. Thank you. Next matter on our agenda for tonight is also a continued matter. The original hearing notice was on the petition of, Arthur Jovelis for a special use permit to run an auction and estate sales, retail sales of new and used items and hold music events at 204 Main Street, North Reading, Mass, map 23, parcel 31. With regard to this matter, once again, Kathy, if you could, I understand there was correspondence and or messages received from Mr. Jovelis.
Yes, he requested a continuance because he was not going to be available for the meeting.
Okay.
And please find the attached request to continue the public hearing due to personal issues and the fact that I will most likely be traveling out of state for the February meeting. I would like to request to continue my request for special permit to the March meeting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Kathy. Noting the Mr. Jovelis's request to continue the matter, would any of the board like to make a motion regarding that request?
Sure. I move to accept the request to continue the public hearing to March 13th, 2025,
Okay,
in regards
thank you.
to 204 Main Street.
I'll second that. With that, all in favor of the request by the petitioner, Arthur Javelis, for a continuance until March 13th for his under his request for a special use permit regarding, again, 204 Main Street. All in favor?
Brendan Riley, aye.
Bob Breen, aye.
Matt Martin, aye.
Thank you. With that, again, for the record, I'm noting that the request for the continuance was made by, in this case, the petitioner Arthur Javelis, and is granted. Kathy, if you would, make sure that gets put on as the first matter before the board on March 13th. Thank you. The agenda as set forth, the next matter, I'm, in this case, just going to bump it and switch it with one of the newer matters, that being with regard to 134 Park Street, a special use permit submitted. Let me read the hearing notice. Virtual public hearing will be held on Thursday, February 13, 2025, 7 p.m. on the petition of David Salvo for a special use permit to allow mixed use in a commercial building in the local business district for 2 apartment units at 134 Park Street, North Reading, Mass, map 54, parcel 119, in accordance with North Reading bylaws 200-35, table of principal use regulation number 3. With regard to this matter, Kathy, if you might, I understand there was some communication in or correspondence received from, in this case, Mr. Salvo or his representative?
Yes, Joe Keys is representing Mr. Salvo, and he submitted a request to continue the public hearing to March 13th.
Okay.
To
Thank you,
get more
Kathy.
information.
Appreciate that. So with, again, the motion being submitted to the board for continuation of the matter by, in this case, the petitioner, David Salvo, would any of the board members like to make a motion regarding this request for continuance?
I move to accept the request to continue to March 13th, 2025.
Thank you, Brendan. Second. I'll second that. So with regard to the petition, again, submitted by, in this case, David Salvo for continuation on his application for a special use permit regarding the property located at 134 Park Street. All in favor of the grant of the petition to March 13th?
Brendan Riley, aye.
Bob Breen, aye.
Matt Martin, aye.
Thank you. With the vote of the 3 members, the matter is continued to March 13th for consideration of the request for a special permit. Kathy, if you would, once again, put that on the agenda as a continued matter to follow, in this case, 299 Main Street. Thank you. Next matter with regard to our agenda tonight. A virtual public hearing will be held on Thursday, February 13th, 2025 at 7 p.m. on the petition of Ann Lukowski for a home occupation special permit to run her bakery business out of her residence at 25 Kings Road, North Reading, Mass, map 66, parcel 9, pursuant to Article 200-42 North Reading zoning bylaws. Is Ms. Lukowski with us tonight?
I am. I'm here. Hi.
Welcome. Hi, nice to see you.
Nice to
You're the cheese that stands alone, the one that didn't ask for continuance on our
see
matters
you.
tonight. If you might take a moment with regard to your request, and tell the board a little bit about your application for special permit regarding, again, your 25 Kings Row.
Okay, perfect. Hi, so I'm Ann Lukowski. I'm seeking approval to start a small residential kitchen business. The business will be called Dragonfly Bake Shop. And so before I get into all the details of the business, I figured I'd just let you know a little bit about myself. So my husband Tom and I have lived in North Reading for over 10 years. I currently work full-time as a registered dietitian within the Mass General Brigham Healthcare Organization. I have a bachelor's degree in culinary nutrition, so I went to 4 years of culinary school, and I have a master's degree in applied nutrition. And I've spent most of my professional career working with and educating people about food. My passion for treat making really took off about 4 years ago when I began volunteering for a charity called the One Wish Project, which is based out of Andover. So that charity makes birthday treats for kids that are living in foster care or homeless shelters on their birthday. And the One Wish Project believes that every kid deserves to be celebrated on their birthday, no matter their situation. And so my bake shop will take kind of a similar focus to that, the goal of making any special occasion celebration just a little bit sweeter. So the details about the business will be, the Dragonfly Bake Shop will provide handcrafted baked goods, so French macarons, chocolate dipped treats, cake pops, cakes, any kind of like small dessert to celebrate special moments. My target market will be like special events like baby showers, bridal showers, birthdays, graduations. Again, any event that will have a celebration. I won't have any employees. It'll just be me. So I'll do all the production alone. My hours of operation will be Friday through Sunday, 10 to 4. Again, because I'm still going to be working full time at my job. I plan to do local or offer local deliveries, so I don't anticipate many, if any, pickups from my home. There may be the occasional delivery of goods, but I plan to purchase most of my inventory through local grocery stores and food supply stores. I won't be sending anything through FedEx or UPS or anything like that. I won't have a truck or van company, anything like that, truck or car. And the Dragonfly Bake Shop, it'll be a small scale business as I continue to work full time. I anticipate probably the volume of treats or baked goods that I would do each week, maybe, 1 to 3 private orders and possibly a few farmers markets throughout the year. I don't see any true disruption to the neighborhood or influx of traffic, given the small scale of the bake shop. And I thank you for your time and your consideration, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ann. Before we open up for questions, is anybody from the neighborhood and/or public with us tonight? Or have we received anything? Kathy, were there any submissions regarding, again, 25 Kings Road?
Report from my neighbor. And
So I know that within the package that was compiled, there was an email sent to attention of the town through Kathy Morgan's office from a Jonathan Belanowitz
No.
and a Joanne Lehner, using an address of 3 Adrian Drive. Hi, Kelly, as the case might be. We are all in supporting the Dragonfly Bake Shop by Ann Lukowski. They have been great neighbors, and we wish her luck in her new baking adventures. Is that the one that the only one that we've received directly?
yes, yes.
Okay. All right, thank you. Again, anybody from the board have any questions or information requests, please?
This is another good reason why if we met in person, she could have brought some of her wares.
I know. I thought of that. I'll drop them off at the town hall for sure.
Um,
Go ahead, Matt. Thank you.
no, so my only question was, and I think you answered a lot of them in your description, so I appreciate that. And sounds like it's going to be a great endeavor. On the size of the kitchen, there's a limit of 300 square feet, so just confirming the kitchen's below that 300 square foot limit.
Yeah. So I had the kitchen inspection already done in preparation for this, and it passed. So I don't know if there's any. Didn't mention any issues with anything. So.
Okay, and you met, yeah, and I think we had a similar request last meeting that was actually going to involve picking up at the home, and so I think the fact that you don't expect that kind of limits the traffic concerns that neighbors would have had. So, and seeing that nobody's here, then it sounds like that it should be a pretty benign operation. So I'm supportive.
Thank you.
And Kathy, there was a publication of the notice, correct?
Oh, yes.
Okay, thank you. I know that in the proposed business certificate application that was dated January 9th of 2025 and submitted to the town, under the building inspector determination, Jerry Noel noted a remark that the Board of Health has not approved as they lack documentation and he is waiting submissions
Looks like
for that.
submittal, maybe.
Yeah,
Well,
thank you. So has there been anything through the town, Kathy, or any conversations that were extended
It
to
sounds
you
like-
from Mr. Noel?
It sounds like Board of Health came out and inspected her kitchen. I don't know if she's completed that process with them.
there's
Yeah,
another
I have
location.
I have the certificate. I'm happy to send it to you. He came out on Friday, Bob Brassey or Basie Brace, and approved everything. And then Christine emailed me the certificate. I'm happy to provide it if you'd like.
Great, thank you. Kathy, if that were the case, would that just automatically go into the record in town from Bracy's office, or does it go to the, in this case, I'm just not aware of the flow?
They keep it with their records. I don't usually get a copy.
Okay, so when you say they keep it with their records, that's with Board of Health. So it
Yeah.
is on record at town. Okay.
Yes.
Given that, I will rely on the applicant's statement to the same, and I think in my for me, for purposes of this matter, as a member of the board, I find that to be a reliable completion of that aspect. I take note of it because, again, the inspector did put basically a check hold on it for that singular purpose. So thank you. And for updating us with that, as well as Kathy for noting that. So in short, everything is, for me, it's basically by order and customer as each baking effort goes. There's
Yeah.
not going to be any signage. You're the sole chef in the kitchen for all intents and purposes, no
Yeah.
staff or assistants.
Exactly.
And okay. And again, no traffic. You're basically going to generate all of it, other than the possible pickup of the orders.
Yeah, and
on
I
that part.
anticipate that will be very few, just because I don't want a lot of people coming to my house, and my dog would go crazy. And so, yeah, it's just easier to bring it to them if possible. So.
Understood. Okay. So for purposes of this, does anybody else from the board have any questions or thoughts or concerns to pass along in this regard?
No, all the questions and comments I had have already addressed.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Okay, given that, would anybody on the board like to make a motion to close the public hearing?
I move to close the public hearing.
I'll second. All in favor of closing the public hearing?
Brendan Riley, aye.
Bob Breen, aye.
Matt Martin, I.
Thank you, gentlemen. So for purposes of decision by the board, it seems as a pretty much a straightforward operation, and as Matt noted, very similar, if not all but identical to the one that we approved last week. These home occupation businesses are usually well presented, and in this case, I find that Ms. Lukowski has made as a sufficient one, and I think that the scale of the operation, given the note from the neighbors in support of this, speaks to me as a reasonable and appropriate purpose, and will not cause any substantial disruption to the detriment of the residents' use or the neighborhood itself. If anybody else has any thoughts, please. And hearing none, would anybody like to make a motion to close the hearing by the board?
Sure, I move to close the hearing.
Thank you, Brendan. I'll second that. All in favor of closing the hearing and bringing the matter to a vote?
Brendan Riley, aye.
Bob Breen, aye.
Matt Martin, I.
Thank you. With that, would anybody like to make a motion regarding, in this case, the application for a home occupation, special permit for use of a home occupation, for 25 Kings Row?
I move to grant a home occupation special permit to Ann Lukowski to operate her bakery business out of her residence at 25 Kings Row, North Reading, map 66, parcel 9, in accordance with the standard conditions. No person
you.
other than the residential occupant shall be employed herein. Not more than 300 square feet shall be devoted to such use. There shall be no display of goods, wares, or signs related to the home occupation visible from the exterior. The special permit for home occupation runs with the applicant and is no way transferable. And the special permit is valid for a period of 4 years.
Thank you, Brendan. All in favor of the motion as put forward?
Brendan Riley, aye.
Bob Breen, aye.
Matt Martin, I.
Thank you, Matt and Brendan. So Ms. Lukowski, as you just heard, the petition is granted and the special permit there too. Kathy, if you take a moment and explain to Ms. Lukowski the process that'll go on at with regard to the at Town Hall and building.
Okay, the notice of decision will be sent out to members. Once I get it back signed, I'll stamp it in with the town clerk. That starts the 20-day appeal period. After that date, you're welcome to come into the town clerk and get your business certificate. I am going to take this form and give it back to the Board of Health and have them update it that you've passed their inspection, and we'll get it over to them.
Thank you, Kathy. And if there's anything further, congratulations, good luck with your business activities, and wish you both great luck and success going forward in this.
Thank
And
you.
and thank you for bringing your permit request to town. I have always wondered if any number of people are doing business without any formal permitting, and we very
Yeah.
much appreciate the awareness of that, both for purposes of the town as well as the best practices of the neighborhoods, especially that could be affected. So thank you for that.
Yeah, of course.
Good luck, Ann.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That closes the hearing matters for tonight. There are some housekeeping matters that specifically I'd like to direct in the immediate towards Brendan. We have minutes from prior board hearings, minutes and from meetings, excuse me, and these all preceded the new members being on board. Brendan, I'm just curious if you've had a moment to take a look at any of those minutes.
I did. I had a chance to review them towards the end of last meeting. And
Okay,
everything
great, thank you.
appeared to be in order.
All right, so going in order by date. I've also had a chance to review the minutes for November 14th, 2024. I found that they were representative of the the meeting and the matters that came before the board that night. And with that, I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes as set out in the compiled by in this case Kathy Morgan.
I'll second that, Bob.
Thank you. All in favor of accepting the minutes as presented by Kathy Morgan regarding our meeting, the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for November 14, 2024.
Brendan Riley, aye.
Bob Breen, aye. Matt, as a technicality, the purposes of that, the reliance in your case can be made upon your fellow board members if that
that's sufficient. Matt Martin, aye.
Great, thank you, Matt. With that, the minutes for November 14th zoning board of appeals meeting are formally entered into the record. Minutes, December 19th, 2024. In that matter, I opened the meeting to acknowledge that the meeting would need to be postponed to January 9th, 2025 due to a lack of quorum. So for those purposes, I'd like to make a motion to acknowledge the minutes from December 19th, 2024 for the purpose of those set forth and showing and noting that the motion to continue was made on the record formally. Can I get a second?
Aye, Brendan Riley, second.
Thank you, Brendan. All in favor of accepting the minutes as set forth for December 19th, 2024?
Brendan Riley, aye.
Bob Breen, aye.
Matt Martin, aye.
Thank you, Matt. With that, the minutes are formally entered for, again, December 19th, 2024. Before the board, minutes from our from the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for January 29th, 2025. In that, for the record, I've had a chance to review the minutes and found them to be representative and sufficiently comprehensive of the matters that were discussed that night and acted upon. With that, I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes as set forth and presented within the agenda tonight for, again, January 9th, 2025.
I second.
Thank you. All in favor of accepting the minutes as set forth and referred in my comments for January 9th, 2025?
Brendan Riley, aye.
Bob Breen, aye.
Matt Martin, aye.
Thank you, gentlemen. With that, the minutes for January 9, 2025 are hereby entered and to go on file with the town. Thank you. With that, that concludes all the agenda matters for our meeting tonight. Is there any new business that any of the members would like to present or bring forward? Hearing none. If anybody would like to make a motion to conclude the matters for tonight?
Aye, Brendan
Close.
Riley. Move to
Thank you.
conclude and
So,
adjourn.
on a motion to adjourn, second, all in favor of motion to adjourn the meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals for tonight, February 13th, 2025?
Brendan Riley, aye.
Bob Breen, aye.
Matt Martin, aye.
Thank you, gentlemen. And again, the next meeting will again continue to be, Thursday, March 13th, and will remain and continue to be offered remotely and virtual. And at that time, we'll gather for any new business. Thank you all for your assistance tonight. I appreciate it very much. And please have a good week. See you next month. Thank you.
Good night, guys.
Good night.
Thanks. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, Kathy, and thank you again.
Yep.